What is going on, all you spies? It's Ultimate Spy 53 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed. This is Reviewed number 72, and today I'm going to be reviewing Doctor Strange, the second movie in Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the 14th Marvel movie overall.
So, what did I think of this movie? Well, honestly, it was a different movie from any Marvel movie I've seen so far in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was actually the first time that they used a different fanfare. Um, it was actually one of the best fanfares I've ever seen because they had one from 2008, which was when Iron Man came out, to 2013. They had this, or no, to 2013 they had the same fanfare, and then they had a new one, and this is the third one. It's epic. It shows all the movies so far that have come out in like one little thing. It's really cool actually. And honestly, it was the movie itself was really good because it had a character that was actually referenced first time in The Winter Soldier, which is the second Captain America movie, and that's Stephen Strange because in this movie. Basically, you have, Stephen Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, with an American accent, which, honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I just thought the whole American accent just didn't work for me. I mean, that's one thing I didn't like about the movie, was the whole American accent. It didn't work for me, but it was really cool because when I saw Winter Soldier for the first time, I noticed that, I think it was Agent Sitwell, when he was talking about the names, he named Stephen Strange, and he's like, oh, could Stephen Strange actually exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And yes, it did, because of the 2014 Marvel press event. I think it was D23. Kim Feige announced Doctor Strange was in the works, and it came out in November. And actually, it was a brilliant movie. There's not a lot of things I didn't like about it, but there's a lot of good things about it. It had, like I said before, Benedict Cumberbatch in the role of Doctor Strange, who I think it was they captured the origin story really well. It was another origin story. Like, people are like, oh, I'm tired of origin stories, but it's actually a really well done origin story. I've seen a lot of origin stories in the world, and they're really quite decent. But this one, it was a very different movie because it had a lot of good cast members, like Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. I think they changed the gender for the Ancient One in this movie. But also they had a lot of other characters like Benedict Wong, I don't even know who he is. Benedict Cumberbatch, Mads Mikkelsen, I think he was in Rogue One. I never saw that movie. But a lot of good casting for a lot of good characters. And honestly, the movie itself, with the characters that it had in it, was really well done. It had, for the first time ever in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it had Rachel McAdams, which was very interesting because I don't read the comics. I should. I've been meaning to, but I haven't gotten the chance to because I've been very busy. But basically, it had Rachel McAdams in the role of Kristen Palmer, who is a doctor also, and basically it has the Doctor Strange origin story where he he's a doctor, and then he loses use of his hands, and he wants to play healing, so he becomes Doctor Strange. And it was really funny because a lot of the scenes in the movie were really funny. They were so hilarious because it's supposed to be like, I feel like Marvel, with their cinematic universe, they're doing a good job with actually making the comedy real. They're making the comedy a lot more better, which I find really fun because you don't really see that in a lot of movies anymore. The comedy, well, you see a lot more, but like back then you didn't have a lot. And I felt like this movie had a very unique plot. It had a very not plot, very unique some very unique characters. You kind of explore the mysticism of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because in the end of the movie you have Wong saying, here's like the Avengers protect the world from physical threats, which is really cool because there's actually an Avengers Easter egg in the movie, which of the form of the Avengers Tower, which is really cool. But overall, in terms of the comic book the look of it, it was really good. In terms of actually capturing the character from the comics, it looked really good. Because I haven't read the comics, but I've seen images of what it looks like in the comics, and based off of the movie, it's like, wow, it's incredible. I mean, seriously, you get the white hair, you got the beard. Well, at first the beard wasn't even a thing. It was like, it was like, full beard. But actually, eventually he got to a beard. But you got like all the powers. You got the Agamotto, which is actually an Infinity Stone inside the. I think it's the Time Stone. I think, I don't know. But yeah, it's a really interesting movie. It's funny. It's full of amazing stuff in reality. Yeah, it also introduced the multiverse, because that's something that people have been wondering, very interested about, because I think that the idea of a multiverse was introduced on The Flash, but that's the DC universe, and the Marvel universe has a different thing, and that's the multiverse. And it's like the way they showed the multiverse. I think it was like noted in the movie Ant-Man, where Scott Lang goes to this reality, this different dimension. I think it's the idea of the multiverse, but this is actually the first time you get to the multiverse. And although it is breathtakingly beautiful, you have all these visuals, like these things going everywhere. We also have this creepy scene where Steven is actually it's like his hands are becoming more hands. It's terrifying, but it's a really good movie. I mean, I say that a lot about movies. In fact, my brother been telling me that I should do reviews of movies that I don't like. But honestly, it's a little hard to do when I find a movie that I liked, because that's the focus of this review show, is to review movies I like. I mean, that's saying like a lot. It's not saying a lot when I like, oh, I should review movies that I don't like. But it's not a lot of movies out there that I don't like. Well, movies that I don't like at all because I don't want to watch them ever. But this movie had a lot of the really mystical arts of it. I felt it was really mystical with the magic, because at first Steven doesn't even know how to use magic. He can't even use it, and then of course he becomes Doctor Strange. I think that there's a lot of epic moments in the movie where he puts on the cape for the first time, or the cloak of levitation, gets in the way. That was funny. But there's also some serious moments, like I think the villain Caecilius, or no, I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. Basically, he's a really evil guy, and he has this eye thing. It's really creepy. It's like a modern Martian doctor who's kind of like caked look. It's like broken eyes. It's just it's terrifying. But I think they really captured Benedict Cumberbatch's character. And I think one thing I didn't like about the movie was the fact that the American accent just really ruined it. I didn't like that, because I expect a lot of British actors to use their native accent, kind of like with Martin Freeman. But he used an American accent, which I hated that part of the movie. But with this movie, I didn't like it, but also it was an interesting addition to it, because a lot of movies you see the actors doing the different accents because they're trained to do that. But I feel like this movie they did a good job with it, but they also just it wasn't the best movie I've seen in terms of the accents. Now the visuals were amazing. The idea of time bending was really cool. The way you use magic was really cool. The relationship between Christian Palmer and Doctor Strange was really very different. I felt like Doctor Strange was the way Cumberbatch portrayed the character, which he did brilliantly. It was very different from any other character I've seen. In fact, the Easter egg at the end was really clever with Thor. That was really funny because it sets up for Thor Ragnarok. But I feel like this movie had a lot of potential. It gives the idea. It gives the idea of a different side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not like the Daredevil stuff, not the Netflix shows, but a different side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe we've never seen before. Because a lot of the movies that we've seen in the movies are more centered on powers and stuff. But this is the first one we actually see magic. I think Scarlet Witch, she's the first one. I think she's the actual first Avenger that has some kind of like magic, but her magic comes from the Infinity Stone, or Mind Stone. But Strange's power, he comes from the mystical arts, the magic, like the idea of making magic. And there's actually a really funny moment in the movie where Doctor Strange is going to Dormammu, basically the villain of the movie. Actually, the second the semi-villain, because Caecilius, whatever his name is, he basically, like, his master is Dormammu, and it was really funny. Actually, it became a meme. It's Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And it keeps repeating over and again, and eventually it becomes a meme where it's like, Dormammu, I've come for bargains. It's funny, but honestly, this movie turned out to be really surprisingly good. I enjoyed what I saw. Um, it gave a lot more sight to it. It actually gave a continuity error because we didn't know when it took place because we didn't have the Avengers Tower until like I think a little later, halfway through the movie, or I think even towards the end of the movie we had the Avengers Tower. Basically, it takes place after Iron Man 2. I think it's like that time period when Iron Man 2 happens, which is why you don't see any Avengers stuff going on. But honestly, the idea of time, of the time bending stuff in the space, it was really cool to see. It was, the visuals are amazing, and I love the especially the part where you have towards the climax of the movie when you see like when Doctor Strange is doing all the time thing, using this thing to make time go. Like you see all these all this construction, all this stuff from the city going back to it's like a reversing timeline, which is a really cool idea. But yeah, no, I thought this movie was, it captured the comic book character in a way that most movies don't really do. They don't really do justice with the comic books. They don't really, capture the comic book well. I think the only character that actually does a really good job with in terms of the comic books is maybe, I think the three Avengers, which is Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and well also Iron Man 2. But also, yeah, it just overall this movie was really really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I saw. It's a very very unique movie because it's the first time. Well, it's also the first time we see the new new fan intro, which is incredible, by the way. Because that one actually shows the Infinity Stones, the colors of the Infinity Stones, but also it gives the idea of a different side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like I said before. But it's very unique. I thought the characters were fun to play with, around with, and I'm really liking what they're going to go with the character, and the fact he's coming back for Infinity War. Actually, sooner than that, he's actually coming back in Thor Ragnarok. But also, the idea of having a lot more comedy, because there was a little comedy in the fact that the character of Doctor Strange was really fun to see on screen, and also Wong, he's a funny character because he doesn't laugh. He doesn't understand any reference. So there's actually a point where Strange talks about Beyonce for a brief time, and Wong doesn't even understand it. And then later you see a scene where he's listening to Beyonce, and so it's like hilarious. But honestly, there was some really good moments in the movie. Some really really powerful moments in the movie. Some really the idea of a different side of the Marvel universe, which is this amazing mystical side of it, this amazing universe that has been built around it. And you have the character that was first introduced or mentioned in the Winter Soldier, but we never actually got a proper backstory for. And then it turns out it's just a typical neurosurgeon who, he thinks he's failing. Of course, he gets in an accident, becomes, not with his hands, and of course he goes magic, becomes, Doctor Strange. Of course, Rachel McAdams' character, Dr. Palmer, he's like, she's like, you joined a cult. He's like, I didn't join a cult. But it's really fun because it gives it's like the way they explain the magic and the forms of the body, like when the Ancient One punches Doctor Strange for the first time, he becomes into his astral, which is like this ghost form, which is really cool. But honestly, to sum it all up, the movie, I would say it was a really unique origin story, because we get too many origin stories, but like too many boring ones, like Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and Iron Man even. But this one was a true one. It really captured the character in a way that most characters aren't really captured. It was the first true solo movie of 2016, because I think the last we've gotten some solo movies, but not a lot of them have been really big ones. Like Spider-Man: Homecoming, from what I've seen from it, it is not really much of a solo movie. It's more like an Iron Man Spider-Man team up. This is a true solo movie because it set in the aftermath. Well, sort of set in the aftermath of Civil War. The movie came out after Civil War in November, but also it had the idea, because everything's connected in the Marvel universe, or we think anyway. But the idea, with the addition of the Thor cameo at the very end, we get the idea that that Doctor Strange can go anywhere. He can be anything he wants to be. Or what am I saying? I don't know. But it makes you wonder what's going to happen to Doctor Strange in the next movie, because we see him with the Eye of Agamotto, which actually holds an Infinity Stone, and it makes you wonder, like, if Thanos actually gets the Infinity Stone from Doctor Strange, what's gonna happen? Um, it just it's a big question. You don't even know what's gonna happen. Um, but also the idea that not really an idea, but like the funny moments in the movie that I really enjoyed were when Doctor Strange first sees Caecilius, I think his name is. I think I might be pronouncing that wrong. But he sees it for the first time. He starts, talking, and then it's really funny because his last name is Strange. So he says, like, the bad guy is like, Mister, and he's like, Doctor. He's like, Mr. Doctor, and then Doctor Strange is like, he's like, it's strange. And he's like, maybe, but it's a pun. It's a pun. It's strange. It's Doctor Strange, but it's like he's saying it's strange. It's like that's my last. It's actual. My name is Strange. He's like, maybe, because it's like, oh, it's strange if your name is Strange. It's weird that your name is like that. It's really great meme right there. But overall, I liked it. There's some really good points in the movie. There really some really amazing stuff that he does in the movie. He goes to this place for healing. He gets kicked out, but he also, it's the first time you actually you have someone who's actually wanting to be taught about something. Taught to control power, to have this. They also have the idea of, like I said before, the multiverse, which is something I'm not really too keen on because the idea of like all the Netflix shows could ever happen, like in the the Avengers movies, or the multiverse. They have multiple universes where you have a different version of Daredevil, which would suck. But there's also the idea of, because the multiverse included, there's also the idea of different versions of the Avengers, which is a very interesting idea. Because with Doctor Strange, because he's so interesting character and so unique, he has so much more potential. He can do so much thing with his powers, or his magic in this case. But overall, I'd say this was a really good movie. It did a really good job with the character. The origin story was very good. It did a lot. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the accent. I just didn't understand why every character from the Marvel Cinematic Universe has to use an American accent, except the ones that actually are supposed to be, whatever they are. Like, for example, Thor and Loki. Which makes no sense because, like, why do some characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the actors, why do the actors have why are some actors British but then they use American accents in the movies, and some actors who are British stay British, like Loki, for example? Like, why is that a thing? But honestly, I think this movie, it gave a lot of possibilities for what to do with the character next. I mean, we're gonna get a second one, obviously, but next thing we're gonna see him in his sort of Ragnarok and then Avengers: Infinity War. But the idea of the character of Doctor Strange being in a whole new universe than he used to be in, which is really interesting. I'm really liking the idea of that. But I'd say overall, I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. I'm skipping one of them because of the accent. I didn't like the accent very well. It felt forced. It felt like he wasn't doing a good job with the accent. That's one thing I didn't like about the movie, was the accent. But overall, I'd say it's a good origin story and a good introduction to a character we've been previously introduced to or mentioned in The Winter Soldier. But we actually finally get to see who he is and where he comes from and how he becomes Doctor Strange, which is via this I think it's Cumberbatch or whatever the place is. This meditation place where you can go and healing, and of course he gets kicked out. But also he's shown a different reality. I love the idea of different realities. I love that. That's really a really cool idea, which I found really interesting. So yeah, I think that's all I can say about Doctor Strange for what it is. I thought it was a really good movie in terms of the attempts and the character. The acting was superb. I liked it. I like the idea of the character. It's really fun. So yeah, that's all I really can say about it. So overall, I'd say it's a very, very good origin story. It does a lot to the character. It brings a lot more ideas to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I feel like he does belong in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a lot. He does. And he just learns to accept change. He learns to go from being this surgeon who loses his hands to being the sorcerer. It's a really big character development right there. It's a really good character development. I love that. So anyway, that does it for this review. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. It really, really is appreciated. Um, I enjoyed doing this. This is a good movie. I recommend it to all of you. Watch it. It's really good. It's really, really amazing visuals. It really does. It's a great villain too, and some good comedy. Um, so anyway, yeah. So you can click here to go to last week's episode where I did no, it was Tomorrowland, and you can click here to go to the Kind of 3 review. And don't forget to subscribe. Okay, awesome too. Anyway, again, thank you for watching, and I will be back next time for another episode. Alright, see ya.